Hi, this is a reflection on lesson 343 in A Course in Miracles, and it says, I am not asked to make a sacrifice to find the mercy and the peace of God. I am not asked to make a sacrifice to find the mercy and the peace of God. And it says those things are free, and salvation, meaning freedom, has no cost, which is interesting because there's a quip in at least American culture, I don't know elsewhere around the world, that says freedom isn't free. And that never sat right with me. It just didn't feel true. And so this says freedom has no cost. It is a gift that must be freely given and received. And that's what we're learning today, it says. That's what we would learn today, is it's freely given and received. And I think the reason we say freedom isn't free is because it does carry a cost when we don't give it freely. Right? So all the wars in the world, it's people die, and that's the cost of that freedom, is where I think that saying comes from. And then this is saying, but fundamental to all of that, like wars wouldn't have to exist if we just gave each other freedom freely. Like that salvation has no cost, freedom has no cost. So it's only when something rises up and says, I need to have power over, then there's separation, and then wars happen, and then of course we all pay the cost of that. But fundamental again to all of that, it should be free. There's freedom that doesn't cost anyone anything if we freely give each other peace. So I really liked this one. I think the freedom isn't free phrase is controversial in certain circles. So it's probably a little sensitive to talk about in saying, but it is free. Freedom is free. That's the whole, it's in the word itself, because and people say, well, it's easy for you to say, maybe because I haven't served in the military, and that is very true. So I still thank those people who served in the military for their service. I imagine that is really hard to do. I imagine that's a really tough job. People get into it for different reasons, but people stay in it for different reasons, and then people come out of it for different reasons, and then people reflect on it and have maybe different feelings about it than when they first went in. And I feel like all of that is a sensitive topic that I am not equipped to talk about. So, because I don't have that firsthand experience. But I think when we think about the peace of God, it's free. It's freely given, and it's ours to receive. And we can gift that on, again, the Course in Miracles, it talks about we first must have something in order to give it, and the giving of that is a miracle because it perpetuates. There is no subtraction in the giving, meaning I give it doesn't mean I no longer have it. So I feel peace and freedom. I gift it to you by not holding you in bondage to anything or holding you in some expectation of something. So freedom doesn't just mean in wars. That was just one example that came to mind because of that phrase we have. But it's all kinds of things. It's I'm not going to hold you to some idea that I have of you. You are free to be who you are. And that is freely given. And then I can receive that back from you. And I can pay it forward, and I still feel free. It's not subtractive. It's actually exponentially additive. So I really like that. That wasn't said in this lesson, but it's said elsewhere in these lessons in the book. So it's a beautiful lesson. And it says, and it is this that we would learn today, meaning we're going to make a commitment to believe that and stop maybe sowing division and just have the oneness, the freedom that we share amongst ourselves, that peace that we share, and the freedom to be who we are.